So my journey to getting the MarkHockey set started by flying into Yaroslavl, which is about a 15-minute ride from the center. It was a really small airport. Arrived at the hotel. Artem, the owner of MarkHockey, hooked me up with the information getting set up with the hotel. It's actually a really nice hotel, but I can say that I filmed all this stuff before I really knew about YouTube and how to do it, so I didn't film it horizontally. So that's why some of the video gets cut off. But here's a room tour. Really nice hotel. I think it's like the main hotel in Yaroslavl. Yaroslavl is not a big city. I think it's like a population of 500,000. And for those that don't know, it's a city where there was the plane crash, or the team of the plane crash that was in the KHL in 2011, Lokomotiv Yaroslavl. So I got to bed late that night, around 1, 2 o'clock. And the next morning got picked up by Artem, who brought me over to MarkHockey headquarters. And I will say that I was definitely surprised with the size of it. They've actually since moved into a new facility, but even this old one was a lot bigger than I expected, and it had a lot more stuff than I expected. And MarkHockey is used by a lot of Russian pro goaltenders, as you can see with the pictures hanging up on the wall and the jerseys from the goaltenders that use MarkHockey. I don't know the exact percentage, but I know it's a large percentage of goalies in the KHL and the VHL that use some type of MarkHockey equipment. Like I said before, I was definitely surprised at the size of MarkHockey. I didn't know it was going to be this big of an operation with dozens of workers, people sewing gear, people hand-making gear, graphic designers, people at the front desk. I thought it was going to be a much smaller operation, and I was really surprised about that. But what I do like is that Artem has his hands on the whole process. He's back there working, he's communicating with people, and ultimately he gets the final say in what's going on. And that reminds me a lot of Simmons, just with making all the stuff in-house, because you know what kind of product you're going to get when everything's handmade like that. Here's the first look at the pads. I'd have to say, up until this point, this is probably the most beautiful looking set of pads I have. I do have something on the way that might take the title for that, but up until this point, it's the best looking set that I've had. Just the colors, the design, the weave, the glove. I'm a 580 guy, and this is a 590. At the time, they weren't offering 580. I think they currently do. If they did make me a 580, I think I'd like it a lot just because it's good quality, but I wasn't really able to get a good feel of it because I never wear the 590. Blocker overall, pretty standard, good quality, no issues with the fingers or getting any pucks through. And I've worn these pads for about 6 months total. And you can see with the puck marks, one thing that I do like about them is there's no real signs of wear and tear, nothing ripped, nothing fraying, no noticeable damage to the pads, which I think speaks to the quality of the overall equipment. You can see with the strapping here, everything's intact. I didn't really give you guys the best look at the straps and everything, but nothing's ripped, nothing's torn, everything's intact, and I think that's really good for somebody that cares about durability of their equipment and having something last longer than a year or a few months. So getting back to the glove one more time, I wasn't really able to get a true feel of it just because I'm not a 590 guy. I'm strictly 580. I do think if they made a 580 glove, I would like it a lot just because it felt like good, high-quality materials used. No stingers, blocker is a blocker. You could see with the puck marks how long I used this set of gear, and nothing really frayed. Everything stayed intact, and the gold weave is obviously beautiful. It turns a lot of heads, and it gets a lot of compliments. But getting back to my trip to Yaroslavl, after I was at the headquarters, I stopped to meet my friend Rashid Davidov, who is the goalie coach for the Russian national team and for Lokomotiv Yaroslavl. After that, I went back to the hotel to lay low for a couple hours, and there were these church displays there, and I found out that Yaroslavl was a city of churches. There are so many Orthodox churches there, which I thought was pretty cool. Later that evening, I went out to dinner with Artem and his family. He brought me to get buffalo wings just because he knew I was from Buffalo, which I thought was pretty funny. Next morning, early at 6 a.m., I had a train leaving Yaroslavl to Moscow, which was surprising that I made it because I was out pretty late with Artem and his family. I only slept about 2 hours, but I packed up my clothes and my beautiful new set of gear, and that's a wrap. And here's a quick clip of my first time using the gear for a quick session in Buffalo, New York after I brought him back to the States. As you can tell right from the beginning, it definitely catches your eye. That gold is so beautiful and probably the best looking set I've had up to this point. I was able to move pretty well right from the first time using them. Pads, I would say, are a little bit heavier than Bauer, but way better quality. So in conclusion, I really like the gear. I really like the owner. He's an awesome guy, and if you're interested in them, feel free to reach out. I'll attach their information below. Hey guys, thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you didn't already know, my name is Nick Villardo. I'm a professional hockey player, and I also own a goaltending school called Villardo Goaltending. One of the things I offer through Villardo Goaltending is my mentorship and advisory program, where I take goaltenders on one-on-one to reach their highest potential as goaltenders and also as individuals. This is only available to dedicated and passionate goaltenders, so if this is something that sounds like you, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at Villardo Goaltending or send me an email, villardogoaltending@gmail.com. We can chat, potentially see if you'd be a fit. But just be aware, I do not accept every single goaltender who applies for it. Thanks again for watching the video, and feel free to reach out with any questions or anything you want to get in touch with.